Close your eyes for a second. Imagine you're sitting in a modern supercar. The seat wraps around you perfectly. The climate control is set exactly right. The dashboard glows with screens, speed, power, torque maps, drive modes. Everything is telling you. You're safe, everything is telling you. We've got this, but somewhere deep inside, you feel like a passenger. Now imagine a different moment. It's 1966. The road is empty. You slide into a low, wide, Italian machine. No screens. No assistance. No safety net, just an engine, a screaming, breathing V12, and your two hands on the wheel. You press the throttle and the car doesn't just move forward. It pulls you into another world. That's the difference between fast and alive. Today's supercars are engineered for perfection. But these 5 classics were built for something else entirely. They were built for feeling, and honestly, some of them still do things that a $1 million hypercar simply cannot. Let's talk about them. Car number 1, Mercedes-Benz 300 SL Gullwing, 1954. Before the word supercar even existed, this car was already making people question everything they knew about speed. 1954, think about that year for a moment. The world was still rebuilding after a war. Rock and roll hadn't even happened yet. And Mercedes quietly released a car that could touch 160 miles per hour. 160 miles per hour, in 1954, before the word supercar even existed. This car was already making people question everything they knew about speed. 1954, think about that year for a moment. The world was still rebuilding after a war. Rock and roll hadn't even happened yet. And Mercedes quietly released a car that could touch 160 miles per hour. 160 miles per hour, in 1954. People didn't know what to do with that, but speed wasn't even the most remarkable thing about the 300 SL. Under that long, elegant hood sat a 3.0-liter inline-6 engine, and for the first time in automotive history, it used direct mechanical fuel injection. Not a carburetor like every other car of that era. Actual fuel injection. Mercedes essentially invented the technology that powers nearly every modern engine today, and quietly put it in this car 7 decades ago. And then there were the doors. Those iconic gullwing doors, sweeping upward like wings, weren't just beautiful. They were necessary. The car's tubular space frame chassis sat so high on the sides that a conventional door simply couldn't open properly. So Mercedes engineered something that had never been done before. Form following function. And somehow, it became one of the most iconic design moments in automotive history. When you stand next to a 300 SL today, it doesn't feel like a 70-year-old car. It feels like a vision. Car number 2, Ferrari 250 GTO, 1962. Only 36 were ever built. Read that again. 36. Not 36,000, not 3,600, 36 cars, total, ever. And today, those 36 cars are worth between $50 and $70 million each. But here's the thing, Ferrari didn't build the 250 GTO to be a collectible. They didn't build it to sit in a museum or appreciate in value. They built it to win, and it did exactly that. Powered by a hand-assembled 3.0-liter V12 producing around 300 horsepower, the GTO dominated endurance racing in the early 1960s. It won the GT class at Le Mans. It won championships across Europe. Competitors couldn't touch it. But what makes the 250 GTO feel truly different, even today, isn't the racing history. It's the way it was made. Every single body panel was shaped by a craftsman's hands, not a machine, not a computer. Human hands, working with metal, forming curves that have never been replicated. When you look at a 250 GTO, you're not looking at a product. You're looking at a piece of art that also happened to destroy everything it raced against. That combination, beauty and brutality, art and engineering, is something the modern world has almost completely lost. Car number 3, Porsche 911 Carrera RS 2.7, 1973. There's a word that gets overused in the car world. Pure. Every manufacturer claims their car is pure. Every review says it. Every brochure promises it. But the 911 Carrera RS 2.7 from 1973, this car actually earned that word. Porsche stripped everything away. Every unnecessary gram of weight was removed. Thinner glass. Lighter bumpers. No rear seats. No luxury. The result was a car that weighed just under 1,000 kilograms. Then they put in a 2.7-liter flat-six engine making 210 horsepower. 210 horsepower doesn't sound like much today. But in a car this light, it was transformative. The power-to-weight ratio was something most modern sports cars still struggle to match. And then there was the handling. The RS 2.7 had a rear engine layout, the engine sitting behind the rear axle. It's a setup that creates a car with real character, real personality, and real consequences if you're not paying attention. Push it too hard into a corner and the rear would step out. Fast. Modern Porsches correct that immediately. Electronics step in, save you, and carry on. The RS 2.7 had no such forgiveness. It demanded that you learn, that you feel the car, that you understand what it was telling you through the steering wheel, through your seat, through every vibration. And when you finally got it right, when you felt the car rotate perfectly through a corner, it was like the car and you became one thing. That's not something a computer can give you. Car number 4, Shelby Cobra 427, 1965. Some cars are sophisticated. Some cars are elegant. And some cars just grab you by the collar and drag you forward whether you're ready or not. The Shelby Cobra 427 is that third car. Carroll Shelby had a simple, almost brutal idea: take a lightweight British roadster body and drop in a massive American V8 engine. Not a small V8. Not a sensible V8. A 7.0-liter, 427 cubic inch Ford the 5th 8 producing around 425 horsepower. In a car weighing just over 1,000 kilograms, the math was violent. There was no traction control, no ABS, no stability system, no launch control. Nothing between you and that torque except your own two hands and whatever courage you could find. People called it the Widowmaker, and that name wasn't dramatic, it was honest. Professional racing drivers with years of experience spun this car. Lost it. Were humbled by it, but here's what's interesting. That danger is part of why people still talk about it with reverence. Today's supercars are engineered to make anyone feel fast. You can floor a modern supercar and the electronics will manage the power, protect the rear wheels, keep you straight, and deliver a perfectly controlled experience. The Cobra didn't care about your experience. It asked one question, can you handle this? Car number 5, Lamborghini Miura, 1966. If the other cars on this list are chapters in automotive history, the Miura is the moment everything changed. 1966, Lamborghini, still a young company, still proving themselves, unveiled something that no one was ready for. A mid-engine V12 road car. The engine mounted transversely, sideways, behind the driver. A configuration that nearly every modern supercar uses today. Ferrari uses it. McLaren uses it. Bugatti uses it. Lamborghini invented it for the road. In 1966. With up to 392 horsepower from that screaming V12. The Miura could exceed 170 miles per hour. That was almost incomprehensible in the 1960s. Most family cars of that era couldn't even reach 100. But the Miura wasn't just fast. It was beautiful in a way that stopped people on the street. Low, wide, with curves that looked like they belonged on a sculpture rather than a road. Marcello Gandini designed it, a young designer, in his 20s, and created something that is still considered one of the most beautiful cars ever made. But get inside and press the throttle, and the beauty becomes secondary. The front end would go light at high speed. The throttle response was sharp and unfiltered. The gearbox demanded precision. This car gave you everything, but it asked for everything in return. Modern Lamborghinis will tell you when you're pushing too hard. The Miura never said a word. It just waited to see what you would do. Modern supercars are faster, safer, and packed with tech. But in chasing perfection, they lost something. The rawness, the danger, the soul. The Shelby Cobra would try to kill you. The Lamborghini Miura tested your nerve. The Porsche 911 RS punished mistakes. The Ferrari 250 GTO wasn't built for comfort. And the Mercedes-Benz 300 SL Gullwing was simply ahead of its time. They weren't perfect. That's why we love them. So, keys in your hand, open road ahead. Which one are you driving? Subscribe for more classic legends.